Welcome to the Summer 2024 International Field Schools Information Session. We are so thrilled to be here with you tonight, although virtually. And meanwhile, we would like to learn a little bit more about you and would like to ask you to type your answers in the chat box of the following questions. So the questions are, which program are you interested in? And are you an undergrad or grad student? And which academic department or institution are you from? So feel free to type in the chat box so then we can learn a little bit more about you. I'm looking for the first answer to come in, and you can type in, tell us, which program you are interested in, and also, are you a grad or undergrad? Which department are you with? Oh, in Berlin, yahoo! NATO, yes. Undergrad, oh, thank you, from York. And I just met with a few colleagues here for the conference from York University, talking about international travel, field schools. That's wonderful. Yay, Berlin! That's fantastic. And I look forward to reading more answers from you. Thank you, and other NATO fans. Yay! That's awesome. From York as well. Wow. It's great. Thank you so much for finding time. It's Eastern time in Prague. Wahoo! We're very excited because Prague we just is the latest program that we put up. Thank you for coming, Elizabeth. So as you are typing in your answers while we are learning more about you, I will go ahead with our the length acknowledgement here. I would like to start by acknowledging that we are presenting today from Vancouver, which are located on the traditional and ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And this land was never ceded, and I am thankful to those who have cared for the land for thousands of years and continue to today. Feel free to make your length acknowledgement as well in the chat box if you would like. And next, I would like to quickly introduce who we are here and tonight. And joining us, then we have myself, Jin Lee. I'm the study abroad officer that working with a faculty member to plan the program, and also will support during you are out for the field trip, and also when you're back, and then provide you the afterwards services, including the re-entry services. And together, I have Louise here. Louise, I'll pass it on to you.
Yes, my name is Louise Clark, and I'm the Field Schools Program Assistant. So if you're sending any emails or have any kind of general questions, I'm the person you'll be talking to most often. And I work alongside June to kind of facilitate the field schools.
Thank you, Louise. And she is your go-to person, first point of contact. So don't miss that, which is email her, yay, for questions, and we will help you out there and then directing you to the right directions. And also, we too supporting Megan Kuby, who cannot be here tonight. And she is the Associate Director overseeing field school program and also for the student mobility programs, which includes exchange programs and also some other short-term programs. So moving on to let's talk about field school tonight. What is a field school to you? What is a field school? If you could just type in some notes out there in the chat box and share your thoughts on what you think of field school. A field school is a school to deliver abroad. How many people there could be in? How long would it be? What do you like field school to be? So you can also move your fingers and type in some answers for me. Thank you. Hands-on learning, exactly, right on point. Thank you. Applied experiences, so that's experiential learning that I'm seeing out there and folks would like to receive through the field schools. Yes, right on point. I would like more answers. How big could that be, right? 2 people? 5? 50? In-field learning, yes. Talking to people in the field. Who is going to lead the field school program? Who could be involved into the field school? Any disciplines that you are seeing, interdisciplinary studies, or Yes, let's bring up the answers here and let's see. I put out a few, but then I know there are a lot more out there for you to talk about field school when we are looking at that. So I think that you touch upon some great points of a field school. It's experiential learning, and then it's a group of studies. So I look at it as a academic program that will give you assignments to complete within a certain period of time. Usually it's during summer, and then leading a lot of the field trips out there. So it is a SFU faculty member-led short-term study abroad program that gives you all at once during a short time. Practical learning from professionals in the field. Thank you so much, Brianna. Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution. Yeah, you got it. And then let's see, go dive into a little bit more of what you would benefit from doing the field school, why we encourage you to go to the field school out there, because it helps you to build a network abroad. I know that nowadays networking is so up to the topic, and without networking, it's hard to get to the next step. And here you go. Field school set you up for that big global platform, and you connect with professionals, industrial professionals, and also SFU peers, and develop future connections for your future travel or study abroad, or probably you plant a seed for your career in the future. The next one is the learn through experience, so experiential learning, which you talked about, some of you already. Gain international perspective and new lens on your studies within Canada here, and global experience learning format, working in teams, in groups with professionals in field, in industries, and also engage in simulations, for example, in NATO program. And also it developed global competencies. This is one of the checkbox that nowadays the employers will check off and see global competencies. Do you have these intercultural communication skills that you bring to the whole team out here? Creative problem solving skills? And what about the great, it could be a great experience for you and also a good resume builder when you finish your whole study journey and then you put it on, it will be shining. The next one is the multiple international education program participation in the future. So depending on the eligibility, you can also participate in another field school. After completing this one, it opens up so many doors for you, doing probably exchange for the future. So field school, it's a team environment, traveling together. Exchange is more of an individual. If you want to go by yourself out there for 3 months, for half a year. So that is individual. And also some short-term summer program that you would like to do. So it opens the door, but give you a taste of study abroad. And also, as I said, that more opportunities, that means more possibilities for you for the future. And let's look at what programs that we have for now. So currently, we have 6 programs not running, when one is pending. As you can see that tonight I've seen, your interest in Berlin, NATO, Prague, and I would like to see more of the students out there. If you're coming for other programs, we have Portugal. Right now it's under review. Once it is approved, it will be live on our website. We have another program coming up very soon. So we'll stay tuned and check back on our website later on to learn more about it. Then next, I would like to talk about some of the travel considerations we would like you to consider when you are being so thrilled about studying abroad and thinking of doing a field school. What considerations we would like you to think about before you sit down and submitting your application here. So international travel and living abroad can be complex and unpredictable due to, for example, the world events, natural disasters, and pandemics, right? And then hopefully it's over. Then there are important considerations to be aware of and prepare for when planning a field school, not only on your side, on our side here. And all SFU study abroad programs must comply with SFU's interim university-related international travel policy. And this policy is actually directly informed by the Global Affairs Canada. Maybe you have heard of these names for many times right now, Global Affairs Canada, because it has been in our life advising us about the travel advisories in the past 3 years. And they have 4 levels, as you can see here. And then let's call them by the shape because they remove the level 1, 2, 3, 4, and they just use the shape right now. SFU does not permit university-related student travel when the advisory for location is in a minus sign and a cross sign. And currently, all of our program destinations fall under the exclamation sign, which means some, right? It's just travel with cautions. And also a tick sign means that it's take normal security precautions that would do. And then beyond the advisory and the compliance to the SFU travel policies, all programs and transit locations must also be appropriate for hosting a field school. What that means is that you travel to and entry to the location must be possible. And also that our program partners and the providers are able to support the program on ground out there. So when all those green signs are showing, the program is going. And you, as a participant, you'll be responsible for researching and making corresponding arrangements for your own field school program. When considering doing a field school, please think about the factors such as international travel restrictions, border entry requirements, any documents that you need to prepare, you need to obtain before travel, flight paths. Do you want to fly through here or fly through another route that you want to get in? Vaccination requirements, public health protocols, and they continue to change. And all this, what I've mentioned, without notice. So including those would apply to you when you return to Canada. So if you are holding a different passport when you are traveling back, returning back to Canada, you want to be more careful on checking on all those checking points when you come back. And all programs have their contingency plans as well, each program. And then these would be invoked in the event that the program are not able to run abroad as planned. And any changes in program delivery would be communicated to you ahead of time. Ahead meaning that as soon as possible when we find out if anything that changed the whole situation, that we will reach out as soon as possible. The next is the safety. Safety always comes on top. It's absolute paramount on the SFU Study Abroad programs. So here are a few supports that would be in place for you, for your program. And then you will find out more details on our website through the QR code here at the bottom, if you would like. Then I'm going to quickly, provide an overview of it for you here. And all field school participants are required to complete the Field School 101. It is the pre-departure program. It's part of it. It is a virtual part of the program that you would need to complete on Canvas. And then in this program, we would talk about the safety-related topics such as your personal safety abroad, risk assessment. We will give you documents to follow to do how to do the risk assessment, and travel preparation, any advice for you to travel abroad, and also travel health, health insurance, emergency contacts, emergency supports, etc. We will cover in this program. And all participants also will be enrolled into a SFU travel safety program before your departure. So Louise is a big help over there. Once you enroll, and then Louise will help to enroll you into the SFU travel registry. Then you have access to International SOS, which is the wonderful 24/7 resource that we have. They are our partner and provide you the medical, security, logistical expertise before, while you're preparing for your trip, during, where you are in field, and after, even you come back. If you need their support, contact them. You can find out more information during this Field School 101 pre-departure orientation program. Besides the Study Abroad webpage, our office, ISS, is also another resource for you to provide you the administrative support before, during, and after the program, which include, but not limited to, for example, advising you which program to go to. Does this, what you want to do, and advising you probably what works for you the best. And also, we give you advice on the program application, provide the pre-departure orientation for you, and doing the survey and providing support when you return to campus. So check out our website to learn more how we can support you better. Last but not least is SRS, Safety and Risk Services, is another great resource that can support you by encouraging sound health, safety, and security measures that minimize risk to you when you travel abroad. So check out SRS website as well if you are, preparing your field trip. And next, when you are, applying things we would encourage you to think about and do, be sure that you read all the program information on the page very carefully, because every single piece is reflecting, for example, the cost, the deadlines to apply, any components of the in-field components out there, itinerary, etc. And these fully outline the terms of your program as well. And speak with your academic advisor about how the field school can work towards your degree, and make a budget plan. This is so important. We know that, it's to some of you, you will need to, you're working or you're studying, you're paying your tuition and also the program fee. I would like you to do that budget plan, to think about how you could support yourself while doing this wonderful program, receiving travel, studying abroad experience. And also come up with a contingency plan for yourself. For example, what if a student needs to take a taxi to an ER, right? You need extra money on that. So you want to plan for those. And you should also be starting researching all the aspects of your program locations using this includes the travel restrictions, entry requirements, public health protocols. So you can use Global Affairs Canada to do the job, and then to look online to learn more about the experiences that people share. Contact us, and then we can direct you into the right resources. Contact your field school director, the future field school director, to ask questions, to think through. And also think about the travel health insurance coverage to meet your own needs and what would you need when you're in field out there. And also don't be shy about talking about your needs on ground, any medical needs that you want the program and the faculty member would like to accommodate you, what supports that you would need to get out there. We would love to know, would love to prepare, and then to support your successful experience out there for study abroad. So contact us if you have any questions. Our email is out there. Then we can type it into the chat box for you. fieldschools@sfu.ca. Don't be shy to reach out to us. And next is the cost and financial aid, which people would be love to hearing more about it. And I will next pass it on to Louise to address this. Louise?
Hi, okay, so I'll run through some program costs with you kind of briefly here. So as we'd mentioned, the field schools are SFU courses, which means they come with tuition fees. The tuition fees will be different depending on your background. So for example, undergraduate tuition for domestic students is around roughly $200 per unit. If you're an undergraduate international student, it's around $900 to $1,000 per unit, depending on which year you started studying with SFU. If you're an SFU graduate student out with your regular subject area, it's around $300 per unit. But if you're within your subject area, it's paying per term or kind of continuing fee, what you've been paying already. So if you've got any kind of questions regarding that, we would suggest that you contact your department prior to applying to talk through your tuition options. Or again, if you're a little bit confused as to what tuition might apply to you, you can send us an email at Field Schools and we'll have a chat with you to see what kind of fees would apply to you. So we've also got the WDA students, the Western Dean's Agreement students. So those are students who are at eligible Canadian universities. So they would pay their home institution directly at their usual rate. And we have SFU fees as well. So these are university charged activity fees charged at an off-campus rate of around $86 per undergraduate student or $37 if you are a graduate student. And if you're taking any additional SFU courses during the term, you'll be charged at the full-time rate, which is approximately double, and you'll also be charged some additional fees, including UPass for transport and recreation and athletic fees. There's also administrative fees for each program. So that's $300 for SFU students and $400 for visiting students. And next we have our program fee. So the program fee varies per program, and it is published, the max program fee is published on each program webpage. And this fee covers your shared accommodation, some meals while you're out in field, in-country transport for most programs, any field trips, any kind of preparation in field and before you're in field, and also re-entry support for when you come back into Canada after your field school. So you'll notice, oh no, this is not relevant anymore, sorry. So there's some other costs as well that you should be considering while you're applying for a field school. So these additional costs can be things like your international flight to your field school, any additional meals, snacks, anything you want to buy yourself when you're out in field that's not part of the group meals, transport for anything, again, that's not field school related, communication, so your phone plan, entertainment, any kind of potential vaccinations depending on what country you're headed to, and your travel insurance as well. So these are not included in the fees. They are something that's something to be considered while you're applying for the field school. So the program page again includes a kind of estimated budget for these fees and what we imagine you might spend, but it is entirely up to you and it depends on yourself. So something to consider again when you're applying. So this is not a comprehensive list. This is kind of a guideline. Again, it's important that you take some time to consider what else you might need in field, what other costs might arise for you, and just, yeah, something to consider while you're applying for the field school. So next, we do have several options for financial assistance, and we encourage you to apply for as many funding options as you're eligible for. So I'll show you the field school funding opportunities chart in the next slide to give you an idea of what funding opportunities you might be eligible to apply for. So these are things like bursaries, scholarships, awards, and student loans. So to apply for most of these, you must be a full-time degree-seeking SFU student. And you must be a full-time domestic student enrolled in a term of 9+ units, which would make you eligible to apply for student loans. If you're a non-Canadian citizen, you need to look into the funding provided for you by your home institution or your home country, whichever is most applicable to you. And if you're an SFU graduate student, we would suggest that you consult the Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies Office, GPS, and regarding your scholarship and award opportunities for graduate students. You can also contact SFU Financial Aid directly to inquire about loans and bursaries. And we would recommend that you look for external options as well. And you can make an appointment with our financial aid and awards advisors within SFU, or the equivalent in your home institution if you're not an SFU student. And they'll be able to help you discuss any kind of funding options available to you and how to create a budget plan for your field school. So you can see the study abroad, the financial awards page linked in the QR code down at the bottom. You'll be able to find this on all of the program pages as well. I'll link to them if you wanted to set up an appointment to kind of discuss your options in a bit more detail. So yeah, I'm not going to go over this in too much detail, but this gives you a kind of rough idea of some of the funding options available for an undergraduate SFU student. So unfortunately, the funding options for the most part are for SFU students specifically. If you're a visiting student, there are funding options available to you. You would be worth chatting to your home institution to see what kind of bursaries and awards are available to you there. But here gives you a kind of rough idea of what SFU can offer you here. And again, if there are any further questions, the financial aid and awards team are really great and they will be able to talk to you in a bit more detail about anything you can see here. You also, for most of these options, need to be studying full-time with us. So if you are in a part-time program, there's something to consider. The odds are that you won't be eligible, but again, You can speak to us or you can speak to financial aid and we can clarify that for you. So one of our biggest sort of awards are the Suite of Study Abroad Awards. So these are specifically for full-time field schools. They're specific to study abroad programs, and they're only eligible for full-time degree-seeking SFU students. The awards are valued between $1,000 and $2,000, and the application for the Suite of Study Abroad Awards is embedded in the field school program application. So towards the end of your application, you'll have the option to apply, and then there's a couple of questions to answer just to express your interest in the program and why this funding would be beneficial. And then, yep, your application is submitted and it will be considered alongside your application. Unfortunately, visiting students are not eligible for this Suite of Study Abroad Awards, but again, we would recommend that you check with your home institution to see which funding options might be available to you. So this Suite of Awards is not based on grades, but it is your understanding of what you can kind of gain from the field school, what experiences you think will be beneficial to you, and your intercultural experiences and the benefits that you find that could be providing for you. So we do suggest that you take the opportunity to work on the answers for these questions. They don't need to be too long. It's pretty small kind of boxes to fill out. But if you just kind of consider your answers, this is how we decide who is going to be eligible for these awards. So any successful recipients will receive the funds around the end of the first month of the SFU term in which you are registered for your field school. Okay, some of our next financial opportunities are the GSO, or the Global Skills Opportunity. So you may be eligible for these awards if you are a SFU full-time undergraduate student. You must be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident or have refugee status, and you must self-identify as either low income, with a disability, or an Indigenous student. So this pilot program has been created to increase the participation of underrepresented Canadian students, including permanent residents and refugees, such as those who identify as low income, student with a disability, or an Indigenous student. And it's to encourage these international learning opportunities for students, particularly in field schools. So a key feature of these awards is that students can apply before or after being approved to a field school or an eligible international program. So the awards allow SFU full-time undergraduate students to apply for funding up to 4 terms in advance of a proposed study or work term. And the funding varies from around $1,000 to $7,000 per student for the field school opportunities. If you're from another institution in Canada, you should check your funding options through the Global Skills Opportunity Awards. You may still be eligible even though you're not an SFU student. And the next application deadline for the EDI-IMA specifically, so this is the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion International Mobility Award. So the deadline for the next set of awards is February 15th, 2024, for the summer 2024 field school programs. So as mentioned, you don't need to wait to have a program acceptance to apply for these. If you're considering going in a field school, we would recommend you apply as far in advance as possible so you can be kind of fully considered, and that can be set up before you even go in field. And yet we have the Global Learning Award as well. They're kind of tied in together. So if you're participating in a field school in a country other than the United States, the United Kingdom, France, or Australia, you may be eligible for one of these awards. Again, this is to encourage students to discover new cultures, go to places that are a little bit less common, and to extend their learning in a new location. And again, the app deadline for this is February 15th, 2024. Okay, so again, to find out more, we would suggest you contact SFU Financial Aid and Awards or the equivalent for your home institution. They've got virtual and in-person appointments. There's virtual drop-in sessions, there's phone advising and email advising. So you've got lots of options to connect with Financial Aid and Awards there. Okay, next, we're going to go through how to actually apply to the program. So this is what the study abroad system looks like when you go into it, first of all. So you'll need to make an account to apply to any programs by clicking on the register now option here. If you already have an account, you can log into your old one and you can go from there. So a dialog box will pop up when you register. Just click yes and fill out the information as required. You can save parts of your application to come back to it, so there's no stress about submitting an entire application in one go. You can return to it at a later date. So once you're in the system, you'll see at the top bar here, you can search for programs. So you can search with Field School and you'll find all the programs that are currently running. Alternatively, you can find this kind of link to log in and begin applying on each of the program pages if you scroll right down to the bottom. So this is what the application system looked like. On the left-hand bar here, you can see all of the sections required to mark your application as complete. And as mentioned, you can save and return to the application at a later date, but we do suggest that you save as you go for each section. The system might lose information, so just save for every section and you can return to them at a later date. And this is quite important. So returning to an existing application. So it can be a little bit tricky in the system to return to previous applications. We just suggest you use this My Application tab at the top bar to revisit a previously started application. We would advise you avoid starting a new application every time you log in. If it can be difficult to find your application, you can send us an email and we'll help you kind of point you in the right direction. But sometimes students end up opening 5 or 6, or recently actually I saw someone had submitted 7 applications or started 7 applications, and it just makes things a little bit confusing for the system. So if you keep returning to this initial application, that would be great. Just makes things a little bit easier for everybody involved. If you do create a duplicate application by mistake, you can withdraw it yourself using the My Application tab. Or if you're having any difficulties, again, email us at Field Schools and we will help you out. Okay, so our application steps are all submitted virtually. Everything can be provided in the system via PDF. And once in your actual application, you'll be able to see the following sections. So I'm going to go through these roughly. Again, questions, feel free to reach out. So first off is your academic reference. So first, make sure to check the program page to see if this is something that your program needs. So some programs will require an academic reference, some programs will accept a personal reference, and some programs don't require a reference at all. So again, have a look on the program page to find that information. If your program does require a reference, you need to contact a suitable referee. So we suggest someone that knows you well from a previous course, someone who has taught you maybe more than once, who kind of knows you and can comment on your suitability for the program. So we would suggest that you pick someone from a class that you did well in, for a professor or tutor who can speak to your strengths and ideally who knows you well. When asking your referee to complete the form, we suggest providing the following documents just to give them a little bit context. So you can send over your transcript, your resume, your brief statement of interest in the Field School program you're applying for. And we'd just like to note that it's not a reference letter we're looking for. So there's no kind of headed documents or anything like that that we need. It is just a form that the referee will be sent automatically as soon as you submit their details into our system. And it asks questions like how long they've known you and what capacity. The relevance of the Field School program to your career and your education so far, your areas of strength and your areas of weakness, your adaptability to new cultures, and an overall rating for potential, motivation, adaptability, and maturity, and also just your suitability for the Field School. So the next document would be the transcript. If you are an SFU student, you can provide your most recent advising transcript. If you are a visiting undergraduate student, you can provide a scan of your most recent official transcript and any unofficial from previous institutions if that's applicable. For these documents, please merge them into one PDF. The system will only accept one document for each field. So if you could merge them beforehand and upload them as one document, that would be perfect. If you're a visiting graduate student, your unofficial transcript is perfect if you upload that. We will need your official transcript as you're accepted, but in the meantime, unofficial is great. So the next two documents are the student acknowledgement document and the program fee refund policy. So make sure you follow the instructions carefully here. Make sure to read each document fully, make sure they're signed, and if you're signing a hard copy, to scan it before uploading it into the system. Again, make sure all pages are merged into one PDF file, and zip files are not accepted. And if you are aged under the age of 19 at the time of applying, your parent or guardian also must sign these documents. So just to kind of run down what these documents actually are, the student acknowledgement document outlines your responsibilities and the terms of your participation in the field school. The refund policy outlines the costs and what can and cannot be refunded should you choose to withdraw your participation. So these documents are really important. They're legal documents, and when signing them, you're kind of agreeing to a contract with us to take part in this field school. So it is important that you kind of have a read through these and make sure you understand everything. And again, if you don't, no worries, just please reach out to us and we can chat you through any kind of issues you might be encountering. Next, we have our assumption of risk form, an AOR, or an informed child consent form, the ICC. And I'll talk about these a little bit more on the next slide here. So again, the way that these forms are filled out are very specific. Another legal document that's quite important, assumption of risk, it's just you're signing up to take part in the field school and making sure that you understand fully what you're signing up for. So we need these forms to be filled out very specifically. The requirements are quite rigid, so be sure to read all the information carefully and make sure that the form is filled out completely. So for example, on the left-hand side here, the form is asking for your full and current address. So for this, we would need your street name, your postcode, your city, just all of it. And we need this form to be filled out completely. If you submit it and it's incorrect, we will send it back to you and ask you to resubmit. So just make sure that all of the requirements are filled out here. The AOR and the ICC form must also be signed by a witness to be valid. And the witness must provide their full name, their full address, again, postcode, city, everything, and a full phone number. Again, these are some issues that we come across quite regularly. There are kind of little missed moments in the form. So if you could focus on these and make sure that everything is filled out, it just keeps the process nice and simple. It means there's not too much back and forth between us and yourself asking you to fill out the form again. For your legal name, that's your full name that would be on your passport. So again, just making sure that every single thing is filled out correctly. If it's not, we will ask you to fill out a new form. The ICC form, which is not shown here, is to be filled out if you are under the age of 19 applying. So it's the informed child consent form, and it essentially should be filled out by your parents and also a witness if you are under 19 at the time of applying. The forms are very similar. They're both done online, kind of through the same portal. So the rules are similar as well. We just like everything to be nice and filled out completely. The form is slightly different, but you'll see that once you click through. Okay, the next section of the application steps would be our personal documents and information. So first we have our statement of interest. The statement of interest is just two short questions. First being why have you decided to apply for this field school program? So if you include how this experience would benefit you in your degree and your future career, and how it applies to your personal goals, up to 250 words for this question. The next is how do you prepare for and adapt to new and challenging situations? Again, if you have any experiences that you think would be relevant to your participation in the field school program, either internationally or locally, please include them. They don't have to be field skill specific as long as you think that they're sort of relevant in some way. Next, we have our Suite of Study Abroad Awards, which we've spoken about earlier. Again, just a little section at the end of the form. Next, we would be looking for your resume, which would be standard, kind of the same resume you would use to apply for jobs, around 1 to 2 pages. Next, your passport. So if you upload a scanned copy of your passport page, so your passport must be valid plus an addition, valid for the duration of your field skill plus an additional 6 months at the end. So if you don't have a passport currently or it's not going to be valid, you can upload a document letting us know when you've applied for a new one and when you think it's likely you'll receive it. For NATO applicants, your passport must be Canadian or from a NATO member country due to security clearance requirements for that program. Next, we'll be looking for a photo. So a selfie is fine. Anything that's got a nice clear background, and make sure that you're the only person in the photo. Medical assurance. So you simply need to confirm for this document you have both primary and secondary medical insurance for the duration of the field skill program. Lastly, our emergency contact and consent to disclose information. So we need at least one emergency contact information for someone that could be reached for the duration of the field skill program. Again, this section asks for an address, a phone number, an email address. So it's important that we at least have one method of contacting your emergency contact. Ideally, a phone number and an email address, or both, would be perfect, just in the off chance that we do need to reach out to them. And if you anticipate that somebody will be inquiring on your behalf about your field skill program, and you wish to give that person access to that information, ISS will require your permission before any personal information is released. There will be an option to include this in the form as well. So you had a parent or a friend who's been helping you, you can include their information just to let us know that it's okay to share that with them. And then the referral information is just simply, how did you hear about the field school? Have you been to an info session and things like that before? It just kind of lets us gather some information if you're interested in filling that section out. If you are a visiting student, you must apply as a visiting student through the field school application program. So you must complete both the field school application and the visiting student application. They are, again, kind of tied in together. As soon as you select that you are a visiting student, you will be sent to the visiting student portal. So the applications for this section will be processed after your acceptance. And there's no application fee for undergraduate students required if you're visiting. We would suggest that you speak to your home institution to make any necessary arrangements before applying to participate in the field school, or after if you want to speak to them a little bit later. Again, if they need to send you a letter of permission or transfer any credits or anything like that. You can also order a transcript from SFU once you have completed your field school to transfer any credits gained back to your home institution. So as mentioned, unfortunately, visiting students are not eligible for the Suite of Study Abroad Awards and most other SFU funding. You can contact the SFU Financial Aid and Awards Office for more information. And again, we would suggest that you reach out to your home institution, as they'll be able to help you and advise you on any other funding that you might be eligible for. Okay, and finally, the applications for most programs are due on January 28th, 2024. If you're a NATO applicant, the application deadline is a little earlier, so December 17th, 2023 for all NATO applications. So we would suggest that you give yourself enough time to fill out the application. It doesn't take a huge amount of time, but just in case you encounter any difficulties, give you a chance to get in touch with us to let us support you however we can. And also, just things come up. So if you give yourself as much time as possible, that's probably your best bet. And it may seem like there's a lot of time, but again, as mentioned, life happens and it can make things a little bit difficult. We don't tend to extend these deadlines. So if you don't meet your application, you don't submit your application by the deadline, unfortunately, you would need to wait until the next field school iteration in 2025. Finally, here are the list of some of our program info sessions that are a bit more program specific. So this is obviously a little bit more general. If you are interested in a specific program, these are really great opportunities for you to meet your field school director, find out a little bit more about the program itself and the itinerary and what it involves. So the next one is coming up a little later this week, on November 29th at 1 p.m. It's an in-person program. The details are available on our program page and on the Berlin specific program page. That will give you the room number and the location. Next, we have our next in-person info session, which is on January 16th to 24 at 5 p.m. in person. I believe that one is at the SFU Harbour Centre campus. Again, this information is provided on the program page and on the Finland specific program page. And we have Prague next for January 11th. That's at 4:30 p.m. and that's a virtual session. And we've just earlier last week or later last week, we had our more recent NATO program info sessions. There may be some more in future. They have not been announced just yet. And likewise for Scotland, we don't have the dates just yet, but as soon as those are confirmed, we will get them uploaded on our program page and you can sign up there. Okay, so I think we've got the next steps here. So yeah, the next steps for this program, we'd suggest you visit the program page, which you can see with the QR code down at the bottom of the screen here. You can follow us on Instagram at SFU Global, where we upload more information about upcoming info sessions and just general bits and pieces about the program. You can contact the field school directors for more program information, particularly if it is a little bit more program specific. If it's an application question or you're having any difficulties with the system, you can get in touch with me. If it's more program related, you can contact your field school director. Would suggest that you connect with your academic advisors. They'll be able to give you some information about how relevant the program is, and maybe some tips for submitting your application. Then prepare and complete your application. And if you have any questions at all, please do get in touch with us at fieldschools@sfu.ca, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible and we can help with any kind of general application questions. And then, yeah, from there, you can just get ready for your incredible experience abroad, taking in a new culture and learning in a brand new environment. Okay, and we'll open the floor to questions now. If there's anything in particular you thought of during this presentation, anything you want to raise, feel free to type it in the chat, or if you want to turn mics and cameras on, you can do so as well.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering, when I was completing my application, I am a York University student. I didn't know if I should apply as a visiting student or an international student. I tried to do it as a visiting student, but it wouldn't let me go through like once I made the account. Is there any contact I could get, or if you could just give me a review of it? Because I was trying to apply for the NATO school and my application date is very soon. So I was just wondering about that.
So the visiting program should be kind of built into the application. If you wouldn't mind sending an email outlining your issue in like a little bit more detail, it means I'll pick it up tomorrow and I'll get back to you and let you know what's going on essentially. I'll be able to kind of look into your application there and just make sure that everything is going okay.
Sure, I'll give you an email soon then. That's fine.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. We have a question from Karen in a chat box and asking what are the acceptance rate for the NATO program. So this is very specific to the program. It is good to reach out to the program staff so then they can answer you. And also we have previously two questions. One is about the Global Learning Awards announcement timeline that we're looking at. So for GLA and also EDIMA, after you apply, please give it some time and you will hear from them announcing the results in 4 to 6 weeks.
Perfect. And then, recording of an in-person info session, that might be best directed to the field school directors, and they'll be able to let you know if they're planning on doing that. And if not, I do know that some directors are offering kind of virtual drop-ins as well. So if you couldn't attend an in-person info session, reach out to the field school director and see if you can set up something virtual and they can kind of run through the session with you there.
I think this is a great way to lead into the introduction to our field school directors who are here tonight. So we have the first one is the Berlin program. I believe that Judy is here. Judy, I will pass it over to you to do a quick intro of yourself.
Hi, my name's Judy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. My name's Judy Radul. I'm the originator of the Berlin Field School in 2017. I think this is going to be our 7th visit to Berlin, and yeah, it's an arts and culture field school.
Thank you, Judy. I wonder whether any staff member from NATO Field School.
Don't see any, unfortunately.
Yeah, then next, Finland. I noticed that Annika is here. So Annika, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, June. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Annika Eres and I'm leading the Finland Field School together with Meg Holden. So I'm happy to talk more about the Field School on urban sustainability.
Thank you, Annika. The next program is Portugal. I think that Hugo is not here tonight. For Prague, I don't see Shuyu is here. Then we will, encourage you to reach out to Shuyu, to your field school director directly then. And we also have, last but not least, we have from the Scotland program, we have Richard. Richard, hand it over to you.
My name is, my name is Richard and I run the Cybercrime Field School to Scotland. If you have any questions, I'll be in the breakout room.
Thank you, Richard. And also we have these info session recorded and we will also send out a recording to the people who signed up for tonight so that they can also reach out to you when they have individual questions later on. And I think we can end the recording here and then proceed to the breakout rooms.
Just saying the right button.